This is amazing. Since we're live, I was muted. Isn't that amazing? Again, welcome to Time Out. And we are live. As you can see, I lost my mic, but that's okay. Welcome to Time Out, the first year anniversary. Yes. A year ago, God actually called us to say, hey, how about we can launch a show that will allow the viewers and the supporters of Pathways of Hope to have a live conversation with one of our hope givers. And true enough, 1 year ago, this show has been born. Time Out, the live conversation. Well, aside from that, last year we actually launched the first ebook of Time Out with the same title, Time Out, a 30-day coffee break with the Lord. It's free. I want you to download it. Again, welcome to Time Out. I'm just excited for this year for the main reason that this year, aside from the fact that it's our first anniversary, we have a very special guest. But before we meet that amazing fellow or amazing brother, not from the Philippines, later you'll get to know him. Um, I miss you all. Let's have a quick conversations. Quick say hi and hello mga kababayan ko. Again, I'm Pau. I will not be giving the reflection for Landas sa Pag-asa or POH. I will simply be your buddy here because later, magtatanong tayo ng live sa ating hope giver. Top of mind, for those people who's actually familiar with timeout, I just have a favor. Shout out, I top of mind, can you please type 5 people who you believe needs to listen to this conversation today? Our topic is entitled The Art of Forgiveness. Sa Tagalog, paano nga ba magpatawad? Top of mind, my dear friends. Comment section below. Can you please tag 5 people? I'll wait for you. I'll give you 10 seconds. Go ahead. There you go. Then afterwards, I'm going to say hi and do a little shout out to those people who's actually joining us live here and now. By the way, for us to know if you are with us live, favor. If you're live watching this, can you please type the hashtag Team Live, your name, and if possible, your location. I'll give you an idea. Hashtag Pau from Rizal area. At least I know that I'm within that vicinity. So at least I can say hi to everybody. Then, yeah, most of the time I'll be speaking in English. Just to let you know, I'm going to call this show the Nosebleed Show because our guest is again not from the Philippines. I will be speaking in Taglish, so Tagalog English. I'll do my best in order for me to translate the questions from Filipino to English. Since our hope giver prefers or is he understands 5% of the Filipino language, but the rest is still good. We will do our best in order for this conversation to be very interactive. Allow me just to say hi Marie Nicole. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Pangs EC from Team Live Antipolo City. Hope it's not raining there. This afternoon, a while ago, it was raining here in the Rizal area. Oh, just to let you know, yes, we are live. It's currently 4:05 in the afternoon, so you're very much live here, and I just want to have this conversation with you. Again, I'll be speaking in Taglish. Please keep on commenting, and I'll along the way I'll be mentioning some things and a few reminders, a few announcements, which we will be mentioning syempre, at the latter part of the show. Okay. This show is brought to you by Pathways of Hope and Landas ng Pag-asa, of course, which is your daily reflection that is, well, of course, it's daily, it's being given to you in order for us to nourish you. We started March 2020 at the second day of the Luzon lockdown, and through God's grace, we're still doing it. Truly, God is amazing. Everything is a miracle. Again, first year anniversary. Who would have thought? Even the show. Okay, I would like to say hi to Ernie Malata, live from Bacolod. Daghang salamat. I hope I was able to say that. I'm not Bisaya. All right. Next, Cynthia Hernandez. Hi, Cynthia. Hope all is well from Quezon City. Take good care. Ali Capote, Ali Sapungan. I hope I was able to say that well. Saying hi to doing some shout outs as well for Isel Montejo, JJ Montejo, Mark Alenio, Mark Anthony, Razel Charmaine. Yeah, please let them come. All right. Now, while you're doing that, again, I just want us to have this conversation, right? Let me just ask one question that I would like you to answer at the bottom part, okay? Since our topic today has something to do with forgiveness, my dear friends, does forgiving mean forgetting? And why? In Filipino, ang pag nagpatawad ka ba, kinakailangan kalimutan mo rin ang mga pangyayari? Bakit? Please mention it at the comment section below. Yan lang. I believe it's very much connected to the topic that our hope giver will be giving this afternoon. This forgiving means forgetting. And why? Sa Tagalog, pag nagkasala, napatawad ka na, kinakailangan bang kalimutan na ang lahat? Bakit sa tingin mo? There's no wrong and right or wrong answer. I just want you to express yourself, and that's okay. And that's one of the greatest things whenever we have a live conversation. It allows you to be you. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Teresita Ace. Ice ma. Sana tama po ang pagkakasabi ko ng pangalan mo. Patawarin mo ako, Teresita. But hi. Noel Luge, hi, good afternoon. Paula Ilagan, hope all is well. Yes. There you go. Okay. Now, again, the question I want you to answer at the bottom part, does forgiving means forgetting, and why? All right. A few announcements. A while ago, I already mentioned time out. We are now celebrating our first year. Next month as well, we are already prepared. Well, God was the one who actually made it happen. If our topic today is the art of forgiveness, next month, it is entitled The Online Christian. And our hope giver would be no other than Sis Bob Lopez. I'm so excited for that person because her credentials are that amazing. All right. In addition, by the way, that would be on September 25. Pathways, the community that we are actually serving, will be celebrating its 16th anniversary this coming Monday, entitled Fun and Faith in the Frontline. This will be on August 30 at 6 in the evening. I hope we can actually show that. Hi, Jen. Yeah, I most welcome, Jen. I know your husband will be okay, and I already claimed that in Jesus Christ's name. We're praying for you. Keep safe. Thank you so much for being with us. Ernie Melata, I like your answer. We can forget but not forget the lesson learned. That's wise. I like that. Pwede ka magpatawad, pero yung karunungan na natutunan natin doon, yun ang mga bagay na ating itatago. Maraming salamat for that one. Marie Nicole, there's a lesson learned about the pagkakamali. True. That is wisdom. Bing Chavez, no need to forget. Just be grateful for the message. Agree. Everything, we all, I heard this from a person that there's no mistake, only learning. Right? Okay. Allow me to continue with the announcement, but please keep on commenting. I love your comments, and I'll be reading a number of them as we go along. Open Door will be next week, September 5, 9 in the morning. The title is Begin Again. Ganda, no? Para magsimula muli. We, Pathways of Hope, will do a watch party, and I want you to join us. It will be complete. That would be a mass, worship, and a talk. Please join us. I want you to have that experience. And if I'm not mistaken, after the talk, there would be an interaction. If you're free, please do engage with us. Here's another thing, and I want you to take advantage of this one. Pathways Eastwood, Manila, Smart Makati will be having a seminar entitled Choices. Choices is a seminar that allows you to get to know yourself, most especially God. In fact, I think it would be better. Choices is a seminar for you to get to know how God loves us so much. This will start on September 7th. If interested, please let us know. At the comment section, please let us know so we can get in touch with you. All right? About the just let us know, and we'll do our best in order to get in touch with you. Lastly, this is our first anniversary of the book. Please download it. Take advantage of it. It's a free one. It's an ebook entitled Time Out, a 30-day conversation with the Lord. Download it now. It's at the comment section, please. Again, Marie Nicole, I like this one. Second chances siguro po sa tao nagkakamali. I like that. Marie Nicole, don't worry about it. I'll take note of that. You would like to join the Choices Seminar. We will send you a personal message after this show. Okay? You have my word. All right? By the way, ngayon pa lang, if you have questions for the speaker, please type your questions at the comment section so later we'll be able to show it live and we will be able to answer it through God's grace. Okay? If, however, naubusan tayo ng oras, we will see to it that we'll do our best in order to get in touch with you. Whether it's through a personal message or at the comment section pa rin. Please, let's do that together. Are you ready? Again, I'm just so excited for this afternoon. Let's maximize the time that God gave us with our Hope Giver this afternoon. Okay. Question, my dear friends. Is this water bottle heavy? Mabigat ba tong bote na to? May challenge ako sa inyo. Pag hinawakan mo to for 1 minute, katulad nung posisyon na ginagawa ko, mabigat pa rin kaya or magaan pa rin kaya siya? Paano after 5 minutes? 15 minutes? 30 minutes? 1 hour? Magaan pa rin kaya siya? Will it still be light? Sa totoo lang, I don't think it will still be light. In fact, the longer that we hold on to this bottle, the more that it would be heavier. In fact, ngayon, tumitigas na ng konti sa balikat ko, tsaka sa braso ko. This is very much similar to anger, resentment, and unforgiveness. The longer that we hold on to it, the heavier it will become. How about this? You put it down, you let it go at the foot of Jesus. You'll be surprised. You will experience freedom. You will be able to say, Lord, I can now move on because I gave it to you. From the Gospel of Matthew 5:23 and 24, and I quote, "So if you're offering your gift at the altar and there you remember your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled with your brother and then come and offer your gift." This afternoon, I have a simple prayer and allow me just to lead it to you. Read it for you. Lord, open our hearts and give us the grace to forgive as you do with us every day. Teach us to lift up to you all our burdens, including our struggles and our unforgiveness. May we instead strive to love others so that we don't harden our hearts. We ask this through the intercession of your mother, Mary, and all the saints, and in the might and love of Jesus. Amen and amen. Okay, this is amazing. Ready? Let me introduce our speaker for this afternoon. Please watch this video first. He is a missionary who works in compliance for a financial institution, a servant from the Church of St. Thomas More, Catholic Church, from Subang Jaya, Malaysia. Hope giver, Chris Felix. Chris, join us, please.
Hi, Bopal. Nice to meet you.
Hi. Yeah, here you go. Well, can you hear us well?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, great, great. Fist bump first before I leave you here. I hope, yeah, I know I'm doing it well. Yeah, there you go.
There
All right.
you go. Okay.
My dear friends, sisters, and brothers, Chris Felix, are you ready?
Yes.
Spotlight is on you.
Thank you so much, Bopal. It's such a blessing and an honor to be here on Time Out. And today I'll be sharing on the topic of the art of forgiveness. So welcome everyone. I hope you can spare me at least the next 20 to 25 minutes as I share on this particular topic. And I think there's no better way for me to start off this topic than to share my life story. And so here is my testimony, my dear brothers and sisters. Well, as Brother Paul has mentioned, I come from Subang Jaya, Malaysia. Maybe some of you are not aware, but Malaysia is a Muslim country. But I grew up in a Catholic Christian household. Yes, my parents, cradle Catholics, and till to this day, they are great witnesses of the faith, especially to me and to my brother. And for the longest of time, as early as I can remember, we were involved in church, right? Of course, my parents initiated, instances of prayer within the family, always encouraging me to have a personal relationship with God. And that is my experience growing up. As I think about it, really, I've had a fantastic childhood. I really want to thank my parents for that. We were, of course, very active in the parish. We served in the community in terms of the music ministry, in the choir, and wherever that God, allowed us to use our talents and our gifts, especially in music, because my dad plays the drums, my mom's a piano teacher, my brother also plays a few instruments as well as I do. There was an opportunity to serve God's people. And so I would say, yes, I had a fantastic upbringing, and I thank God for that. Everything was going on well, If I talk about maybe my faith in God, I wouldn't say I had a deep personal relationship with the Lord. Yes, I knew about Him. Everything that, my parents shared, the church, the community, the children's ministry that I belonged to, I knew that this Jesus, that this God loved me. But as I went through my life, and there was a particular instance 15 years ago when I was 15 years old, something happened that would change my whole entire life upside down. And as I was going to a particular friend's house, this stranger stopped me. a stranger who I've never met before. And we're having a conversation. And basically, the stranger wanted some help. And of course, at the beginning, I, reluctantly disagreed. I didn't want to follow him. But slowly, but, I kind of like relented and I followed him. Well, to cut the long story short, my dear brothers and sisters, this particular stranger whom I've never met, he took me to his place and, he took advantage of me. He molested me, he sexually abused me. And it was a very traumatic incident in my life, especially at the age of 15 years old. I had to go through this and, I thank God I was able to, get out of that particular situation. But I had so many questions, so many unanswered questions, so much of anger inside my heart, so much of resentment, no, not only to this particular stranger, but also to God, because I've been serving Him. I've been active in church, in community all my life. Why did God allow this to happen to me? I remember being so angry and even having all these suicidal tendencies and thoughts, because I just think, is it worth it? Is life worth it? But when I came to a point where I had a discussion with my parents about this, and as we talked about it, we got emotional about it, I can still remember the words of my parents, especially my dad saying this. He said, Chris, you need to forgive. Chris, you need to forgive. And at that point, I was questioning, how can I forgive this particular stranger? How can I forgive myself? And my parents led me into this process of healing. And I really thank them, for going through this particular process with me. And that process of healing began at the age of 15 years old, because I had to make a decision to let go of the resentment, the pain, the hurt that I felt, or was I going to hold on to it? And truly, by God's grace, slowly but surely, I relented and I let go of the pain that I was experiencing. Yes, it was a process, my dear brothers and sisters, but I look back at it 15 years later. It was the best decision that I've made, because that helped me to be free. And now, when I look back at that particular situation, I can talk about it. I don't feel any pain, I don't feel any resentment, because I have released forgiveness to this particular stranger. And I've also released forgiveness to myself, and asked God for forgiveness. And all these things happen in my life as it was a process of my own healing. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, if I can kind of summarize my testimony and the big message that I want to share with you in this short period of time, I want to share with you that forgiveness is a decision that you and I can make. Right? There is a quote by Corrie ten Boom. Maybe some of you may know her story, but this is what she said. She said, forgiveness is an act of the will, and the will can function regardless of the temperature of the heart. In other words, she's saying that forgiveness is your choice, it's your decision that you can make, regardless of the feelings that you have. That first step is deciding to forgive. And the reality of the situation is this, my dear brothers and sisters, because we all live in a broken world. We all live in a broken world. There are people in our lives that are going to hurt us. That's a reality that we got to face. Maybe they are continually hurting you in some way. Some people have betrayed you, embarrassed you, treated you so poorly, right? And we have to acknowledge this reality that we don't live in a perfect world. There is brokenness. And there's a saying that hurt people hurt people. Hurt people, people who have received hurt of their life, right? They continue to hurt other people. Maybe that's how they cope. And the cycle continues, right? Until and unless there is healing, right? That cycle stops. And really, healing, my dear brothers and sisters, begins with a decision to decide to forgive. Yeah, to decide to forgive. And I like to maybe just share a little bit about, two categories of people. Yeah, maybe you can reflect on your life also. The two categories of people that I see. right? We have the survivors and we have the overcomers. Yeah, the survivors and the overcomers. And the similarity between a survivor and overcomer is this: both survivor and overcomer go through the pains of life. Both live in a broken world. Both receive the same sort of hurt. Both go through the same experiences of having torments, wrongdoings, so on and so forth. But let's try to differentiate how a survivor lives and how an overcomer lives. Okay? Now, survivors, as I would put it, survivors say that time will heal. And you've heard this probably time and time again. Say, don't worry. Somebody has hurt you. Don't worry. Time will heal. But think about it. Does time actually heal, my dear brothers and sisters? Let me give you an analogy. I have a cut. I was on a scooter one time. And as I was on the scooter, I actually fell down, and on the tarmac, I actually had a scar. I think you can't see it here, but there's a long scar here, a wound. Now, if I just left that wound out open, right? And and I just thought to myself, okay, don't worry, time will heal. Time will heal. What would happen, my dear brothers and sisters? As of course, all of you know, if I leave an open wound, if I don't treat it, time only will allow that infection to grow to other parts of my body, right? And I can become sick, I can become ill, and of course, I can even lose my life because of that wound not being treated. But what needs to happen is that as soon as I have that wound, the healing comes from the medicine. The medicine heals that particular wound. And yes, over time, right, together with the medicine, that wound will heal. And so, as we look at it, do we say that the wounds of our soul, like the hurts that we experience, can we also say that time will heal? Well, I want to propose and I want to offer you this. I want to share with you that it is not time that will heal. It is Jesus who will heal. Yeah, it is Jesus who will heal your wounded heart. In Jeremiah 30, verse 17, it says, I will heal you of your wounds. And in Psalm 147, verse 3, the Lord says, the Lord heals the brokenhearted. In other translations, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. And so this is what I want to share with you, that we cannot say that time heals, but Jesus is the one who heals. Another thing that survivors will say is that forgive and forget. And Brother Powell mentioned this. Of some of us, what is our, our thoughts about this? Forgiving and forgetting. Well, I think that it is so difficult to forget, right? As I shared with you my testimony of what happened, I can't forget it. It happened, right? Forgetting it is actually living in denial. We haven't accepted that situation had happened, right? But an overcomer says this: an overcomer forgives and remembers. Because every time an overcomer remembers a hurtful situation, a hurtful environment, thought, he or she remembers it but does not feel any pain or resentment. And so similarly, like my wound, now you can see the scar. I can remember the incident. I can remember my foolishness, but it doesn't hurt me anymore. And so similarly, when we come to a position of real forgiveness, my dear brothers and sisters, we are able to remember the past, and it doesn't hurt us anymore because we have moved on, right? We have released forgiveness. I like to further also just share with you, survivors. Survivors, of course, live through the pain, but they never get beyond the pain. I cannot say that they are truly alive. Yes, they live, but they're not truly alive because remain trapped in their victimhood, blaming others or themselves for all the problems that they have. They're not free, right? They're still holding on to that hurt, that resentment, that anger. Right? And that's what's weighing them down. That's what's burdening them. But how is an overcomer like? An overcomer survives through the pain, the heartbreaking circumstances, but chooses to walk in God's grace and strength. And because they walk in God's grace and strength, they are truly alive. They're not trapped in their victimhood, they seek no self pity, but really they are alive. And this is a position that I want to share with you, my dear brothers and sisters, to become overcomers of all situations of your life as you make that decision to forgive. If the saying is true that hurt people, I also think that healed people who have received healing, right, in this area, they too, in many ways, I would think that they heal other people, right, and the cycle continues in their own life. And I would say this, my dear brothers and sisters, that forgiveness is very central to the teaching of Jesus. Forgiveness is central to our own healing, the healing of all the wounds that we have experienced. Sometimes we just suppress it. We think that by forgetting it, another way is just suppressing it, not thinking about it, not addressing it. But over years, that suppressed emotion, that suppressed situation, that suppressed feeling can spring up maybe later on in your life because that was an undealt part of your life. And there's a saying that, good fruit comes from good roots. Yeah. And bad fruit comes from bad roots. So as we look into our lives, are we bearing good fruit? Do we have the fruit of the Holy Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control? If we are actively practicing that, we know that our roots are rooted in Jesus, in the gospel. But if we are bearing bad fruits and we're always resentful, we're always thinking negatively about others, poorly about ourselves, we have a pessimistic outlook on life, right? We have to ask God for healing of the root, yeah, of the root of our lives. In the gospel, Jesus presents to us this particular passage, and Jesus shares with Peter because Peter asked him, Jesus, how many times should I, forgive? How many times should I forgive? Is there a number? And Jesus goes on to say that, it's not 7 times, but 70 times 7 in Matthew chapter 18, verse 22. In other words, right, for us as followers of Jesus, as disciples, we need to release forgiveness in a sense that there is no limit to the area of us releasing forgiveness. And very central to the prayer that we all pray is the Our Father. Yeah, there's a saying there that many people might not really give much attention and really much thought to. It says, Lord, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. In other words, we're saying, God, forgive us. The measure to which you forgive us is the measure that we will forgive others. It's a very dangerous but very powerful prayer, my dear brothers and sisters. So my encouragement to you today is that to release, to let go. Don't hold on to the pain. What good is that bitterness doing to you? Yeah, unforgiveness is drinking poison, hoping your offender dies. And that's not a life of freedom that God has called you and God has called me to. To end up, I want to share with you basically some practical tips, yeah, as we're talking about the art of forgiveness. And I want to share with you how to let go and let God. How to let go and let God. Now, letting go is, of course, deciding to forgive, choosing, making the decision, the first step at least, to release forgiveness. And do you feel like it? Maybe at that point of time, you may not feel like wanting to forgive. But pray to God to give you that grace to decide. And I believe that as you decide later on, the emotion will follow. But you cannot be led by that emotion. Yeah. Because if you say that, okay, I will only forgive when I feel like it, as you and I know, we will never feel like forgiving. Yeah. So decide to forgive. The second is to change your focus. Many a times we are harping on, the particular hurt, the pain, the wrongdoings, and it can really cause this cycle of hurt. Brokenness begets brokenness. So let go by changing your focus. Yeah. And that focus, of course, has to be on God himself. Thirdly, is to seek good counsel. And as I shared my testimony, I had to go through a process of healing, counseling. I went through my parents first, later on with the elders, the leaders of my community, later on even with other brothers who had journeyed with me, to really help me to pray for me, to allow me to go through this particular process of healing. Yeah, so that's important. Seek good counsel. Next, we talk about letting God. Yeah. What are we letting God? We're letting God take control, my dear friends. And here, I just want to share with you is that we need to rely on the grace and the strength of God. Because if you ask me, like I said, I don't feel like forgiving. Yeah. And by my own strength, it's very, very difficult. Yeah. But in 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, it says that my grace is sufficient for you, for power is made perfect in weakness. Maybe for us, we are feeling very weak in terms of wanting to release forgiveness, but let us pray and let us rely on the grace of God, the strength of God, to grant us that power to forgive. Next, also turn to scripture. There's so many verses in the Bible that talk about the theme of healing and forgiveness and reconciliation, and find comfort in those particular verses. And lastly, and I think this is very important, is to pray for the persons or the person who has hurt you. Maybe you find it very difficult at the beginning to decide, to make that decision to forgive. Yeah, but God, ask God for the grace. Ask God to give you that that strength to really pronounce forgiveness to this, but to set yourself free. Yeah. And I think many things will happen in life, because at the end of the day, you want that freedom for yourself. You want to be set free. So let go and let God. My dear brothers and sisters, to end this up, the greatest model, the greatest example of forgiveness is Jesus Christ himself. In Luke chapter 23, verse 34, Jesus on the cross says this powerful message, sentence, that till today, is something that I hold on very dear to my heart. Jesus, who had gone through all sorts of abuse, right? You're talking about physical abuse. He was, put with the crown of thorns. He was whipped. He also went through all sorts of mental, emotional abuse, with all the hurling of nasty things, insults, the guards spitting at him. Probably also, I would go to the extent of saying that he was sexually abused, in a sense of, some are saying that he probably wouldn't have had the linen on him. He was probably naked on the cross. But still, even to go through all of this, in Luke chapter 23, verse 34, he says, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. And that is the greatest example for you and for me, my dear brothers and sisters, that Jesus is our model, is our example of forgiveness. So let's rely on him. Let's ask him for the grace today. And so to end, my dear brothers and sisters, I just want to reiterate the point that forgiveness is a decision that you can decide, that you can act upon. Yeah. Regardless of how you feel, regardless of the temperature of your heart, right? You can make that decision. And I want to encourage you to make that decision for yourself, for your freedom. Yeah. As Brother Paul mentioned, you don't want to hold on to that bottle, that analogy of holding a bottle for the rest of your life. You don't want to hold on to that, because that will weigh you down. And that's only one bottle for probably maybe one person. Can you imagine all the hurts that you have felt, like all the bottles that you're carrying? Like God is giving you the grace, even right now as I speak to you, to grant you the grace and the strength to forgive those who have hurt you and set yourself free. And that is my message today. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Take care and God bless.
Wow, it's amazing, Chris. Thank you so much. First, I would like to honor you for being brave enough to show your scars, most especially the dark scars that we had the dark scars that you had in the past. And what's the beauty from that? You actually use it to for you to be on a higher plane. And allow me to say this: I believe that plane now is called grace, and
Thank you,
you're now
Gopal. If I
no
can
problem.
add, that area of healing in my life, and that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
so passionate because that was really my entry into starting a relationship with the Lord. When I received the healing of God, I took my faith very seriously, and because God healed me, as John Paul II says, how can anyone who has tasted the goodness of Christ remain silent or inactive? And that was my call, to not remain silent, to not remain inactive. And that spurred me on the ministry to really serve and to really tell young people or anybody who would allow me to, that God is giving me the grace to forgive. And that's the message that I have today.
Right. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that very brave, very open, and very wise conversation. We're not yet done. My dear friends,
Okay.
this is the time for you to ask the question. So please, at the comment section down below, let us know. Whether it's in English or Filipino, I will do my best in order for me to translate it. Now, Chris, if you can't understand it, tulungan mo ko. Yeah, you might be wondering, why did I speak a little Filipino? Chris understands a little Filipino. 1-2%.
1-2%, 1-2%.
In fact, while I'm waiting for those questions, before we went on live, this amazing guy actually sang a Filipino song. Chris, I'm sorry. It's
Okay.
um favor for the love of everybody. By the way, this show will normally it's around 4 until 5, but believe it or not, for the past months we have been seeing that we do overtime and people actually stay because the conversations are really amazing. Now, yeah, drink your water.
Okay, Andre.
Okay, I'm just waiting for the questions to pop in. All right, just allow the people, by the way, at the back are doing their best. I'm with Emmy. I have Ali and I have Paula at the back. If there might be some private messages, they will be the one to help us. They will be sending you messages as well. All right, thank you so much. I've been receiving a lot of thank yous here from Lorna Kagingin. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. God bless you. Melba Fundano, thank you so much. All right. I can actually see questions here, but while we're still waiting for it to be shown on live TV now, Chris, favor, sample.
Okay.
Sige
So,
na.
for the love of everyone, I'm gonna sing
Salamat,
a bit,
salamat.
a bit of a Tagalog song that I learned. When I was 16 years old when I came to the Philippines, and the song is called Sabiko. Okay, so sabi nila, tama ka na sa iyong kalokohan. Sabi nila, tigilaman na. Kanya naman niya katuturan, katuturan. Jesus, mahal kita, Jesus. Mahal kita, Jesus. Mahal kita, Jesus. That's all I have for you.
Thank you so much. An applause for that one. I know it's a bit of an effort, but then again, I really appreciate how candid you can be at live TV. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Okay, now we're ready for the questions from Marie Nicole. It's in Filipino. I'll read it first in Filipino and I'll try to translate it for your benefit. Okay, don't use Google Translate, bro. Okay.
Okay.
Paano po kaya, brother, kapag lagi lang ikaw ang humihingi ng tawad at yung taong nagkamali sa'yo madaling patawarin pero ikaw hindi ka mapatawad? Okay. All right. Lord, please give me the wisdom. I'll try to translate this. Okay. What if you are actually on that space wherein you're the one who's asking, this person's been asking for forgiveness from someone, but sadly the person whom the individual is asking for forgiveness is the one who can't actually forgive you. Was I able to translate it well, my dear friends? um, can someone please help me? I hope I was able to translate. I'm trying to get the context of it. How can you actually uh, uh, you're asking for forgiveness from the person.
Okay.
You've actually received forgiveness, but sadly, that individual as well is also hurting you, and
Mm,
seems that that individual is having that difficulty to forgive you.
mm.
My dear friends, was I able to loosely translate it the right way? But here you go. Thank you so much, Paula. From what if it's the other person who can't forgive you?
Mm.
I hope the context was right. But Chris, are you getting
Yes,
the?
yes, I understand.
You can
I
see that.
understand.
Okay, good, good, good. All right,
Yeah. Let,
fire away,
let
bro.
me share Bhopal, and maybe you can add on.
All right.
I think maybe I want to just affirm this particular sister, making the first step in deciding to release forgiveness. I think that takes up a lot of courage. That is not easy, not difficult. I mean, that is very difficult. Now, once you, of course, done that, the person who does not receive it in a way that the particular person doesn't want to release forgiveness. Maybe we have to put ourselves in that situation, is that maybe the person is not ready yet, not ready, not ready to receive that particular forgiveness of yours. But you have made that first step, and I want to affirm that. Maybe over time, we need to give time to that particular individual, because maybe the particular individual is still hurt. Yeah. And I think it's important also that when we're releasing forgiveness, we are specifying what are we forgiving, or what are we releasing forgiveness about specific. Yeah. I'm asking for forgiveness for the times that I hurt you for this, and please forgive me because I've done this, I've said this to you. Yeah. At least you have done that for you, and I want to commend that. I think that is really good. Over time, hopefully, the other person will receive this and will also, you know, say the same thing. Uh, I think Bopa, if I can kind of like summarize it, there's a difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. The area of forgiveness takes just that one individual, releasing forgiveness. But maybe what the sister is talking about, reconciliation, is two people, being reconciled, releasing, asking and giving, forgiveness, and choosing and deciding to move forward. Sometimes maybe the other party is not ready yet, but be ready when that party is. Yeah, be ready when that party is. That's how I would say it. But I want to commend this particular sister for making that first move, because sometimes that first move is sometimes the most difficult. Yeah. If I put myself in the other person's shoes, yeah, it's difficult, right? Maybe this person has hurt me so much, and he's straight away asking for forgiveness. Yeah, I need maybe some time to process it. I need some time to understand it, and when I'm ready, yeah, when I also can understand where the particular person is coming from, I can release forgiveness and accept the particular person's forgiveness. Yeah.
That's an amazing answer. Marie, I have to be honest with you. I'm actually on that space of prayer right now. At our community, and I believe Chris is actually part of the of that big community known as the Sword of the Spirit. If asking for forgiveness, I'm thinking of the right word, permit me. Well, in reality, when a person asks for forgiveness, that shows the person's character, like what Chris already mentioned.
Mm,
Because it takes not just humility, it takes so much courage to do that. The other hand, on the other side, if that person is still erring, I highly recommend. Well, I went through it. I needed the intervention of my ninongs and ninangs at the kasal. I mean, my godparents at our wedding when I erred. during during my marriage. Well, I'm still here. Um, I'm still very much alive with my marriage. No, but for me, what worked well was the wisdom of couples who's been in the community for the longest time. They will give you an objective perspective, and from there on, and through God's intervention,
Yeah.
reconciliation happened. But it took so much courage for me to admit that, hey, I made a mistake. It was my boo boo.
Yeah.
Bottom line, like what Chris mentioned, it takes so much humility and courage to say I'm sorry. So that itself is not a brownie point, but that is the Holy Spirit working in you. Agree with that one, Chris?
Yes, agreed.
Okay.
Thank you, Bopal.
Whew, that was a difficult one. Translating it is quite difficult. Now I'm waiting for the next one. All right. Oh, another Filipino
Ali.
question. Okay, from Ali. Paano magpapatawad sa paulit-ulit na sakit na binibigay ng galit sa'yo? All right. Lord, give me the wisdom again. Can you flash the question again, please? I'll try to translate it for Chris, unless he was able to understand it. All right. No, no, no.
Only the question mark. Yeah, okay.
Uh, I think that's not the question a while ago. The prior one, please. Not this one. Ayan, ayan. There you go. Paano How can you actually forgive if the incident persists? I mean, the thing that triggers your anger still happens. How can you actually forgive? Or is there a limit to forgiveness? That's
Okay.
biblical.
Okay. Okay. So I think we need to understand a bit of the context, but maybe let me
Yeah.
give you a situation that happened. When I was in college, I had a classmate, and this particular classmate of mine, she used to always call me names, and it always used to persist. She used to call me names. She said it one time, I kind of brushed it off. Second time, but I was evidently hurt. Because she was using a bit of a derogatory term. Until one day I came at, I approached her and I said, one on one, I didn't want to embarrass her. I said, so and so, I feel very hurt every time you call me that. Could you please stop doing that? And I would really appreciate it if you call me by my name. My name is Christopher. And as soon as I said that, she realized that she was actually hurting me because she didn't know. She didn't know that she was actually hurting me. And as soon as I said it, that I didn't like it, and I wasn't getting emotional or was objective about it, she immediately stopped from that day on. So I think understanding the context is, but why I'm sharing this is because sometimes we need to, openly also share how the particular person, yeah, has hurt us. Maybe that's how you feel in that situation. Of course, this is a person that I'm, is not in a Christian environment, Christian community, so the context is a little bit different. But I guess when it comes to in a Christian community, we talk about the sandpaper ministry. There's going to be certain things that brothers and sisters do that annoys you, and yeah, you can always be open, yeah, in the comfort of your particular relationship that you have, to express yourself and say that I don't like the way that you said this, and the reason why I don't like it is because this is how I felt. I think it's important to have that openness and transparency in the way that you felt. Yeah. And so I don't know whether you have been doing that to your partner or to the particular person, that that is always seems to be persisting, but maybe that's something that you can start off with. Yeah. To openly express yourself, be open, be transparent. Yeah. Hopefully that will change the situation. Yeah. And I think you mentioned about about forgiveness, and is there a limit to it? Is there a limit to it? I think it's a very important question to ask. Is there a limit to forgive? um, as I understand it, when you're talking about forgiveness, there's really three levels of forgiveness. We have the upward between us and God, internally within ourselves, and externally. Yeah, and I believe that you cannot give what you have not received. You cannot give what you have not received. For us as Christians, we believe that every time we come to God with a genuine heart, we ask for forgiveness for all our sins because we are all sinners. Yeah, all of us has fallen short of the glory of God. Every time we come to Him, He is so ready to extend mercy and forgiveness to us over and over again, time and time again. We go into the sacrament of reconciliation, we receive the grace, the absolution of our sins. And when we understand that, my dear brothers and sisters, then that is so much easier to really release forgiveness to, those people who have hurt us. We are extending the mercy of God, uh, not only to ourselves, but to those around us. Yeah, because if you look at it, we don't actually deserve to be, forgiven, but God still forgives us, and He keeps on, allowing us to try again, try again, try again. Yeah.
Wow, the questions on this show right now, are really they're truly amazing. By the way, my dear friends, permit us, we will do overtime today. Pagbigyan nyo na kami. It's the first year anniversary. Plus the questions that we have been receiving are all good. Even the comments in a while, I'm going to read a number of them that it actually helps, most especially for answering this question. All right? Thank you so much. Stay with us. This is an amazing show right now. Okay, from Paula. What about those instances that you thought you've forgiven, open close parentheses, because you don't see the person, and then you see that person, then the hurt comes back? Oh,
Mm.
how would you handle it?
Mm.
So, allow me to translate that one. You have already forgiven the person.
Okay.
Although I know you already got it, right? You've forgiven the person, then there has been an instant that you saw that person, then it's all coming back.
Yeah.
How
Understand.
do you handle it?
Maybe I just want to share two things that is on top of my mind right now. Um, the first thing is that I would liken the process of forgiveness and healing as peeling off an onion. Yeah, peeling off an onion layer by layer. As I mentioned, in my own testimony, healing is a process,
Yeah.
and you begin that first process by deciding, yes, and then you see that particular person and you choose again and you decide again to forgive. And over time, my dear brothers and sisters, right, that feeling also will commensurate with the decision that you have made. Second thing, there's an interesting term that we use in English, right? We don't say when we go up to a person, we don't say "I forgave you." "I forgave you" is past tense. It says "I forgive you for hurting me." It's present tense. That means in this present moment, I'm choosing to forgive you. It's quite interesting. And to me, that is how I would answer you. And it's very normal, I think, to to think that, okay, I've forgiven this particular person 10 years ago, and suddenly I see this particular person, and the hurt comes back. Maybe you feel a certain way, right? But I want to encourage you to take that step to overcome, to overcome and take the next step and say, yes, in this moment right now, when I see you, I'm going to choose to forgive you. Yeah, and the more you do it, by the grace of God, the strength of God, that feeling will also commensurate with it.
Can I add a little on a
Yes, please,
practical
Papa.
note?
Yes.
Um, with regards to forgiveness, if the hurt is too much, I highly recommend you may need to get professional help, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? Forgiveness and even accepting forgiveness and actually asking for forgiveness takes time, like what Chris mentioned. But for me, a practical tip: if the hurt is too much, one, you may seek professional help. Very practical. Two, that's the beauty of being with the good with the community. You have accountabilities. I mean, you have brothers and sisters who stands by you shoulder to shoulder. and they will be the one. You have that sense of accountability that if you're falling into sin, or if you actually fell into sin, they will not leave you there. They will be with you and help you go through it. Now, about the feeling, like what Chris mentioned, it's really a decision, because feelings actually, it it's a spur of the moment thing. The decision is the one that lasts. And like what Chris mentioned, and I really believe in that, you ask for the grace of the Holy Spirit, because we cannot do it on our own. Truly, we cannot do it on our own. Um, but there's God who loves us so much. Allow me to read this comment. I love this comment. Big from Bing Chavez. Reconcile, act on it. Again, the word is act. Forgiveness is not automatic. It is a process. Pray and offer it. Wait for God's wait. Allow me to read the word. Wait for God's revelation as you go through the journey, and that's a
Yeah.
fact. It's not a one-time thing.
Yes.
It's a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year process. And you'll be surprised, like what Chris mentioned about this scar. You will see the scar. You will know that I remember that story. Then you smile. Then you say, there's wisdom on it. Bing Chavez, thank you. That was amazing. Here's another question. I told you there's so many questions that we're trying to filter them all, but they keep on coming. I love this topic. Can from an Chris, you know someone who goes by the name Anonymous? Can one be truly forgiven even if he has not actually or physically apologized to the person? Is saying sorry a requirement? Then a song actually ran, a tune rang on my head. Is it too late now to say sorry? Hmm. Okay. Can you show that question again, please?
Yeah, yeah.
uh, okay. Can one be
If
truly forgiven?
if I understand this question correctly, Bopa, because the word forgiven, um, when you're talking about two people in a relationship, right? One is releasing forgiveness or giving forgiveness. One is accepting forgiveness. Accepting, forgiving, releasing, and giving. And maybe if I can see the question again, it's talking about forgiven. Yeah, can a person be forgiven if that particular person um, is not physically there, right? I, I I'm coming, I guess, from the viewpoint of that a particular person has hurt me, and probably there are many people who have hurt you, and they don't even know that they have hurt you. Am I right? Maybe in that
Yeah.
moment you
Yeah.
felt a bit sensitive in that moment, or maybe I mean it's justifiable that you felt angry, but you're choosing to release that forgiveness. Now, do you need to go and I don't know. I don't know whether you feel the need to go and tell everybody, tell that particular person you hurt me. It really depends. Like I go back to that situation in my college. The reason why it irked me so much because it happened day after day after day after day. I just couldn't take it. Have people call me names throughout my whole entire life, and I've told all of them that I don't think so. I've done that, but I've released forgiveness towards them. At least on my part, when I see them now, even though they have called me names or whatsoever, or they hurt me, it doesn't hurt me anymore because I've released and they probably don't know about it. So of course, in a different context, in our community context, in a covenant context, in
Hmm.
a marriage, it's very different. Yeah, we're talking about in that situation. We're talking about reconciliation, both parties working together, releasing and giving forgiveness, and that's very important. So that there is opportunities for moving forward and growth. Yeah.
That's a good question. Forgiveness. I got this from my ninong sa kasal. I got this from my godparent when during our conversation when I admitted that I made a mistake. You are no longer at this. You are now on a higher plane, and that plane is grace. And I believe everything is grace. Everything is grace. Being forgiven is grace from God. Being alive right now during a pandemic and with the Delta variant hitting us, and I believe, Chris, you also have that same problem, right?
Yes, yes.
The numbers
Like
there
that
are
here.
actually increasing, right?
Yes, it is quite bad there.
Everything is grace. And you value that grace. So, Lord, help me with this answer. Like what Chris mentioned, letting go allows you, allows that feeling not to hold on to you anymore. But being grateful and being forgiven and being loving allows you to be on a higher plane. And you'll be surprised. You'll be able to do more things because it's no longer your power. Because God is already standing by you and letting you know, all shall be well. Did I make sense, Chris?
Yes, yes, you did, Gopal.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
It's great.
All right. Whew. To be honest with you, there are still questions.
Mm.
They keep on coming. All right. Chris, I think you do you really know this person anonymous? Anyhow,
On a roll.
survive
Anonymous is on a roll.
another one. I have to be honest with you.
Mm.
Anyhow, surviving and overcoming.
Yeah.
Is it intersecting or independent or flow like a stage in forgiving? Mm. I think the question might be related to the context of your conversation a while
Yeah.
ago, Chris.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um, I leave this with you. I don't know
Yep.
how to answer.
Well, I think even deciding to be in which category, right? Survivors or overcomers. I go back to the question of decision, right? Am I deciding to be in this state where, yes, I've received the pain and I'm just going to be a victim of my, you know, my pain? I'm going to not be truly alive? Or am I going to choose to overcome? And it's a daily decision. It's a relying on the grace of God, the strength of God. I think when Brother Paul talks about the grace of God, and it's very it's the same message that I have, because in my experience, I couldn't have done it on my own strength. I couldn't have done it on my own strength. I had to rely on the grace of God. I had to rely on the prayers of my parents to help me through that particular stage of my life. Yeah, but it was a decision that I had to make. And when I made that decision, I said I'm not turning back to to look at myself and the situation that I'm a victim. Yeah, I'm choosing. I'm choosing to want to overcome. I'm choosing to walk in the grace of God. So I wouldn't say it's a step by step process. I think I'm maybe just oversimplifying that particular categories that I put people into. But at the heart of what I'm trying to share between the differences between a survivor and an overcomer is the decision that you need to make when you are faced with hurt, wrongdoings, pain in your life. What decision are you going to make? Yeah, and the decision will probably you know uh, yeah, and the decision you make will make you fall into which category, the category of a survivor or the category of an overcomer.
I don't know what to say. I was actually reading the comments, and I love this comment from Noel Luge. Allow me to read it. For married couples like me, for
Yeah.
married couples like me, it is important to ask sorry or ask for forgiveness when you hurt your spouse. True. In small and big things. This makes marriage more open and stronger. Again, it's all in, again the word, I guess, that's it. Everything is God's grace. Right, right, Noel? Everything is God's grace. What Chris went through was really hurtful. Um, if not for the grace of God to that he actually sent the love, I mean the love of the family to support him, the community itself, and his openness and his willingness to let it go, it would be very difficult. But then again, because of that plane, that higher plane, the plane known as grace, now he's using that hurt. I remember the word from Bobby Kitayan, um, a wounded warrior. Because of his stripes, we are healed. Lord, permit me to use it loosely. All right. Because of the hurt that you had before, you're now using that one to actually help people point to God Himself.
Yes.
Everything is grace. So again, if we are on the if we are on that space of I'm hurting, I have been hurt, I forgive, what should I do? Well, again, on a practical sense. One, you can seek professional help. Two, be with the community who will love you. Take note of the word. Be with the community who will love you, who will support you as you go through the process, because it will really take time. But then again, you will see breakthroughs, small breakthroughs, day by day. And next thing you know, you'll be looking back and say, "Hey, God was there, and God's hand has always been there." Again, forgive us. We are over time. All right. By the way, Chris, I'm seeing some hashtags here. Allow me just to read it. I'm trying to contain my laughter a while ago, but there was an ongoing hashtag that I just don't know if it will. I was there you go, hashtag Chris Heartthrob. All right, thanks for that one. Okay. Oh, well, if that's the case, Chris, do you have any final word for our guests and
Yeah.
the people that we're serving this afternoon?
I think my final word is that I'm praying for all those who are listening to this or who will be listening to this in the future. My prayers are with you. May God give you the grace and the strength to live a life of freedom, to be an overcomer of every situation of your life. And may you make forgiveness a decision daily. God bless.
Thank you so much. Chris, don't leave us yet, okay? I just need to make a few announcements. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Again, thank you so much for being with us. A few announcements before we leave. First, again, thank you so much for being with us. This is the first anniversary of Time Out and Time Out the book. And if that's the case, download the free book at the comments section. Time Out, a 30-day conversation with the Lord, written by no other than attorney brother Bobby Kitayan and Alvin Fabella. Use it as you go through, as God nourish you daily. It would be part of your healing process. Next one, please like, share, subscribe Pathways of Hope and Landas ng Pag-asa at Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and take note, even Instagram. Do follow us and allow us to be your co-journeyer as you go through life itself. Number three, next month, our time out is a very nice topic. The topic is the online Christian with no other than Bob Lopez. She has a very good, she has great credentials. And she will be discussing on how to be an online Christian at the time of fake news. Next one, Open Door Sunday. That will be live. Will be with you. That will be mass worship and talk September 5, 2021 at exactly 9 a.m. Manila time. We'll do a Facebook watch party and a YouTube watch party. So please be with us. Now, if you're that person seeking the Lord, I want to journey with you. I want to know you more. I want to love you more, and I want to experience your fellowship. Please join us. Pathways Eastwood, Manila, Smart Makati will have that choices seminar, and I want you to take it. This would be your step in order for you to have that freedom. That will start at September 7. My team here, and we will be getting in touch with you. Just let us know at the comment section if you're interested. So we will get in touch with you. All right. If that's the case, my dear friends, thank you very much for joining us. Again, forgive us. We did an overtime of 15 minutes, but I hope this conversation about the art of forgiveness made you realize that, hey, mahal pa rin ako ng Diyos. Let me call on Chris again so we can say bye-bye. Paalam, Chris!
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us. God bless you all.
Bye, everyone.
And
Take care.